Okay.
Growing up, one of my favorite pastimes was video games. I didn't play that many different franchises as a child because I was very exclusive to what I liked: Mario, Pokemon, and Sonic the Hedgehog. So let me pose a question for you. If you were asked, why do you like a video game? I personally would say a few specific things. Does the game look good? Does it play well? Is it memorable? And most importantly, and this is something that a lot of people forget about, is it fun? If the game isn't fun, why are you playing it? Today I'm going to cover a lot of different reasons as to why Sonic the Hedgehog appeals to me personally. But first, I want to go into why Sonic the Hedgehog was even created in the first place. I just want to provide a quick disclaimer in that all the footage shown here, as well as my discussion on the game, is regarding Sonic Origins port of Sonic 1. I have not played the Genesis port in a while, so I can't quite judge that one, but I'm going to base it off Sonic Origins since that is the most accessible version up to date. Okay, just want to get that out of the way. Sonic the Hedgehog was created because Sega needed a rival to Mario. Mario was Nintendo's mascot and was completely blowing every other franchise out of the water. Sega came up with several concepts. One of their biggest concepts was Alex Kidd, who is actually a franchise that still exists to this day, and in fact they even released a remake of the original game recently, which is kind of cool, and I wonder if I'll talk about it one day. But Sonic the Hedgehog was created after Alex Kidd, and there were several different designs that they came up with. One of the designs and one of the most recognizable names that isn't actually Sonic the Hedgehog is Mr. Needlemouse, which I'm happy they didn't go with that name. It doesn't really fit the edgy nature that they ended up going with, so it's kind of nice that they ended up scrapping that name, as well as this design, which this design is fine, but I prefer the final design. The final design kind of represents a lot of the colors that Mario has: red, white, blue, and obviously he's got the buckles, which Mario's got the overalls, and Sonic's got, gloves, just like pretty much every other mascot character slash cartoonish character from that time period, as well as way before that, obviously with Mickey Mouse. So that's how Sonic the Hedgehog was created, and they decided to stick with a little more 90s edge to Sonic, because around the time Sonic was created, aka 1991 when the game launched, that's around the time when there was a lot of like the edgy kind of content. Not edgy necessarily, but more of, defiant against your parents kind of stupid stuff, or going against the grain. That's what they wanted to shoot for with Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's kind of cool that that concept is what they decided to stick with. And it's also kind of what they stuck with for most of his life. Of course, we had a few duds here and there where Sonic ended up becoming a little more edgy, a little more 2000s-ish, but eventually Sonic came back to form and is kind of back to his former glory. We'll get into those games later on, but for now, let's just focus on Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on the Sega Genesis. When Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis launched, it launched alongside the Sega Genesis as a bundled title, but also it sold 24 million copies worldwide, which is impressive considering the time, since Mario was kind of taking the world by storm at that point. Now that we have a general concept of why Sonic the Hedgehog came to be and how well it did, why did it do that well? And that's what I really want to talk about when discussing Sonic the Hedgehog 1. So the first thing I'd like to discuss are the pros with the game, because Sonic the Hedgehog 1, I think at the time was a very good game, but nowadays there's a lot better options. Sonic 1 is a little archaic in its design, especially for Sonic the Hedgehog standards. However, I will give the game props. It was the starting point for the franchise, so I'll be a little bit nicer to Sonic the Hedgehog 1. It tried to be its own thing at the time, so you got to give it a little bit of slack. Alright, so firstly, let's go over the pros. The visuals. This game is gorgeous. Now, 16-bit was not really that big at this point. This is like kind of what ignited the 16-bit era, and it was phenomenal. my god, games looked so good in 16 bits. And I mean, the visuals, Green Hill is a great example. You got all the waterfalls in the background, the sky, you can see all the mountains in the background, all the animals on screen, all the character designs, the robots, the badniks, whatever you want to call them. This game looks so damn good even to this day. It holds up so well. And these visuals were also, like, eventually, you know, carried over to Sonic 2, and they also improved upon them in Sonic 3, and 16-bit Sonic is the best looking Sonic in a lot of ways. Secondly, let's discuss the music. When discussing Sonic the Hedgehog, you gotta discuss the music, and the music in this game is so good. I love Green Hill's music, Marble Zone, I love Spring Yard, Labyrinth, Starlight, and even Scrap Brain. I think they all sound super good, but obviously I think the music later on in the franchise gets a little bit better, a little more, you know, rock and all that. I kind of prefer the, you know, the hardcore music as opposed to a little more like the level themes fit the music is basically what I'm trying to say here. I'm happy with the music in this game, especially for the time being. And a lot of it's memorable, with Starlight and Green Hill being my favorites from this game. Now, at the time of this game's release, it was also super unique. There weren't many speed platformers out there, and which ones there were, they wasn't quite at Sonic the Hedgehog's level. Sonic would go so damn fast in this game, and it was insane how fast Sonic would go. And like I said, at the time, this game was incredible, and it was a marvel to behold. I love how fast Sonic the Hedgehog games go, and that's part of the reason I love Sonic the Hedgehog. All the games are super fast, exhilarating, and they keep you in the zone. And trying to better your times and trying to do the best you possibly can in a zone and get to the goal as quick as possible, I love that concept, and Sonic the Hedgehog executes that so well. Lastly, I would like to discuss the controls, which are very, very good in future ports of the game, but I think the Genesis port of the game, not great. Because there's a lot of things they added later on, such as the drop dash, the spin dash. All that stuff makes traversing these levels a lot easier. And the controls are very, like, snappy and they feel nice. But without the spin dash and all of that, it makes Sonic 1 on the Sega Genesis vanilla does not feel great. So that's why I prefer, like, the Christian Whitehead port and Sonic Origins. I think it really makes this experience much better than playing it on original Sega Genesis. So now that I got all my positives and pros out of the way, I gotta say, I don't really like Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis. Yeah, not a big fan. But that's why I wanted to give my pros first, so I could possibly, you know, I want people to understand that I don't hate this game, and I respect for what it did, but I still don't like this game. So I'd rather talk about the cons. Let's talk a little bit about the cons. So firstly, I feel like Sonic 1 past Green Hill Zone is lacking in speed. Take Marble Zone, for example. You're sitting on platforms waiting to get to the next part of the zone. I hate how slow this zone is. You cannot run. When you jump into the lava, yeah, you don't die, but you lose all your rings and you can't recover them. So it's not fun trying to traverse Marble Zone. Spring Yard Zone feels okay. It's a little faster. Starlight Zone is the next fastest zone. Labyrinth Zone is very slow. Very not fun. Very sloggy. Sloggy? Sluggish. It's very sluggish. And Scrap Brain Zone is also a lot of waiting and trying to be careful, because if you're not careful, you're gonna die. Hence how I died a lot.
Okay. Oh. Oh! There's delay! Why was there delay? Why are you trying to kill me? Oh god! Get me out of here! I can't! Ah!
I find the platforming sections in Sonic 1 to be very slow and long. Like I said, Marble Zone. Spring Yard is also at fault for this. And Labyrinth Zone is the fucking worst with this. It is the worst. I hate Labyrinth Zone. I don't think that's a hot take. A lot of people hate Labyrinth Zone, so I'm not gonna say I'm the only one that hates Labyrinth Zone. Another thing I have a problem with this game is bad enemy placement. I think the enemy placement in Zone 1 in Green Hill Zone is fine. Past that, it sucks. It's awful. I don't know who decided to put all these enemies in specific parts of the zones, but man, oh man, does it frustrate me. I really, really dislike the enemy placement in this game. It is just abysmal. The last con I want to discuss are the bosses. The bosses are unmemorable, and I'm going to be honest, the only one that anybody ever remembers is the first one. It's literally the first boss, ever. So, and I mean, it's like the most basic Sonic boss. They even reuse it in like Sonic Forces. We'll get to that game. And they use it in plenty of other like references and such. It's a simplistic boss. It's literally just Sonic battling Eggman in a fucking wrecking ball thing. I don't know. It's really, really just simplistic, and none of the bosses in this game really make me like remember a lot of them. Bosses were kind of lame, I gotta be honest. And especially the Labyrinth Zone boss. Now, when I was playing through it in this playthrough that I'm showing here, I didn't realize that you could completely skip fighting Robotnik and you could just jump to the top and get to the goal. I thought you actively had to attack him. Hence why I died so much.
Okay. Oh. Okay, just hit me while I'm not even on the platform. What is that hitbox? What is that? Oh, I give up. Just kill me. I can get off of him this entire fight because these spears, somehow that actually didn't register as a hit on me, which I was fully expecting it to. That one did. That one actually kind of made sense though. That was kind of on me. Just kill me already. There's no reason. I couldn't do anything. Oh, I actually hit him again. Look at that. That's gonna be it for the entire fight. What? I give up. Timing of those is like actually really annoying. Like, I don't want the game to be easy, but you make it like fun. I don't know. It'd be a little weird, right? Wait. You don't even need to. What? Oh. Alright, well, we're finally out of Labyrinth Zone, so.
Now finally, I would like to rank all the zones. So there's a total of 6 zones in this game, and I feel like this will be the easiest for me to rank because none of these zones really aren't that impressive to me. None of them really stick out in my mind. But there's 2 in this game I do actually really enjoy, and I wish they'd honestly bring back them for future titles. Like if they're ever to bring back zones again, which you know they will, I think that these zones would be really cool picks to bring back. Alright, so at the very, very bottom, very close call here, I think I hate Scrap Brain more than Labyrinth Zone. Because at least Labyrinth Zone, it's, you know, it's not super duper long, it's just very frustrating. Scrap Brain is long, and they even have their own Labyrinth Zone section for the Act 3. I absolutely hate Act 3 of Scrap Brain Zone. It's brutal. So then right above that is Labyrinth Zone, which I hate that one for exactly the same reasons. It's slow. There's the whole water mechanic where if you don't grab a bubble in time, you die, and blah, 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 blah. Ugh. God, I hate that zone. Then I would say next is Marble Zone, since it's got slow platforming sections, you can't do anything, and it is just super duper long. And then I would say above that is Spring Yard Zone, because it's a little more bouncy, a little more fun, feels a little more Sonic. It's kind of like the pinball level before pinball levels became a staple in Sonic 2 and beyond. but it still is a fun zone for what it is. Then after that, I would say Green Hill Zone. Green Hill is not bad in this game. It gets worse as we go on because they reuse it too many times. But in Sonic 1, I think it's okay because at least it's fun to play in this game. And this was the first of its kind, so I'm a little more generous to it. And my favorite zone in Sonic 1 is Starlight Zone. I think this zone is just gorgeous. It's fun. It's very bright and vibrant, and the music is so good. I love Starlight Zone. And that about does it for the zones in Sonic 1. So now I get to talk about the special stages. Now, this could have been included in the con section, but I kind of wanted to give it its own little section because I hate the special stages that much. Sonic 1's special stages suck. Like, they are the worst. Alright? Don't try and get all the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1. You get nothing for it. You get a good ending, which is really not that good of an ending, to be honest. I hate Sonic 1 special stages more than anything. They are awful. They are awful. Now, in this playthrough, I actually almost got all 6 emeralds. Yes, there's 6, not 7. But I only got 5. Because you'll see in the footage that I only got 5. Because I missed the last one. Because I hate how you have to get in special stages. You have to have 50 rings, get to the end of the zone, and jump into the special ring. However, like I said, bad enemy placement, poor level design, it leads to you ending up not being able to even possibly get the Chaos Emeralds. And it is very frustrating to me. I prefer how Chaos Emeralds are handled in later Sonic entries. Sonic 2, actually, I kind of prefer it than Sonic 1. Sonic 1 is my least favorite. The special stages aren't fun. They're actually very nauseating. I was playing through it, like, during this playthrough that I'm showing right now, I got so nauseous at one point, I had to pause it and, like, just walk away for a minute because it was so bad. It's hard to look at. So Sonic 1, while not being a perfect game, nor not even close to a perfect Sonic game, at least tries to do something different than the standard platformer formula that was introduced around this time. It was very nice to see a game sort of branch off from that generic platformer and start to become a little more about speed. I really like speed platformers. It provides a little bit more anxiety-inducing gameplay, for example. But I think that Sonic 1 was really good for its time. Nowadays, I don't really recommend Sonic 1. I'd recommend you play Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic CD, and any other entries that are in the 2D Sonic formula. However, this game still set a good stepping stone for Sonic the Hedgehog's franchise, and I can't wait to move on and talk about Sonic CD, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3 in the future. With that said, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.